filled with filters and facades, The Real Life with Lacey is your sanctuary of authenticity. Join me as we unravel true stories that resonate with the human experience. And remember, our ultimate goal is to touch the heart of at least one viewer in every episode. This is where the power of real life takes center stage and the impact is real. Welcome to a journey of inspiration and connection. Welcome back to the Real Life with Lacey podcast. We took a short few-week break for the holidays, and now we're back, and we are starting season 2. So we are off with Joanna.
Hi, I am Joanna Fisher. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. I'm pretty excited to hear about your crazy life.
Crazy? Tip of the iceberg here.
Yeah. But... All right, well, that's good then. You're welcome here then. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Childhood. No one really knows what we're about to talk about, but let's just start off slow. How was your childhood?
My childhood was far from normal, which is crazy because I always say this, it's my normal. Because it was so excluded and closed off from the rest of the world that you don't know anything else besides what you're allowed to know. Mm-hmm. I grew up in a polygamous cult in Utah. It was ran by Warren Steve Jeffs. I don't know if you've heard of him.
I have not, no.
He is currently in prison for life and 20 years for sex crimes against children.
Oh, wow. Okay, so yes. Utah.
Yes.
That's where you're from?
Yes.
And you were born into this cult. Is it considered cult?
Yes, yes,
okay.
Very much.
Okay.
Very much.
Okay. And so you were born into it. And so that means your parents were very, very involved in it.
My parents were born into it. My grandparents were born into it.
Oh, damn. Okay.
This started, I believe, they broke away from the mainstream Mormon church in 1880, I believe.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so how big was the environment that you were born into, like, people-wise? Like, how many people were in this?
In the beginning, it was my mom. She was placed by, and this is a little weird.
Placed?
Yes, because you don't choose who you marry. You are placed by your spouse.
Oh.
So there's no dating. There's nothing like that. So her father essentially called her up and said, hey, do you know your second cousin, Joseph Fisher? And she was like, I've heard his name. And he was like, okay, well, you're going to marry him.
At what age?
I think she was 24 at the time, if I remember right.
Is that old to get married?
I don't know. It changed because when it was Leroy S. Johnson, he was the prophet, so they say. He didn't like young marriages as much. It happened, but it was very rare.
Okay.
Then when Roland Jeffs, who is Warren's father, he took over, then it was a little more common, but it wasn't really, really young. And when Warren took over, people were as young as 12 when they got married. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Okay. So your parents, they were related.
Yes.
Okay, I just got that.
I really hate that. I hate saying it, but yes, they were.
Were they blood related?
Yes.
Okay.
So it happens like this. In polygamy, you have multiple wives. Mm-hmm. So my grandma, her mom, and my dad's mom were half sisters.
Okay. So they were related, not
super close.
Yeah, but there was some blood that went in the lines. Okay, got it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So then Grandpa calls your mom and is like, hey.
Yeah, you heard of your cousin Joseph? Well, you're going to marry him. And she's like, oh, okay, this is what the prophet directed from God, so this is supposed to happen.
What's the reason behind it? Do you know the religious
Well, it wasn't super common to marry related. It wasn't like it was a weird thing that happened a lot. It did happen because we grew up in a small town. There's 5,000 people max.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But why is it that this person is allowed to tell you who you're marrying? Why is it his job? Am I getting that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Why is it his job? Does he get a vision or something?
Yes.
Is that what it is? Okay.
So he's given direct guidance from God.
Damn, this guy's got some power.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. A lot more than you think.
Holy shit.
So he's given direct guidance from God who you are meant to be with, and sometimes they know who you're meant to be with even when you're kids. Like, you are not allowed to know until you're at the altar, basically, taking your vows. Okay. But you know, sometimes your dad tells you, sometimes you meet him when you're taking your vows. It's just different case by case.
Okay. So your mom was told to get married to your dad.
Yes.
And then how'd that go?
So they sort of went on a little bit of a date before, which is kind of rare. Not all people get to do that. And they're, you know, told, you know, don't do anything. You're not allowed to kiss or anything because that's not allowed.
Yeah.
I think they did, however.
Oh.
So.
Well, at least they liked each other.
Yeah, to my mom. Yeah, she did like him. He was awesome. He was really, really awesome to my mom. But,
okay.
So they were together. I don't know how long because this is, you know, I'm the, like, fifth child. So,
are you? Okay.
Yes. So they had 6 kids together. So I would imagine, you know, probably about 10 years.
Okay.
Give or take. A lot of them were a year apart.
Okay. And are you living in normal, like, housing?
It was just us in one house at the time, so yes, it was just us two, and he had built the house, my dad.
Okay, so it wasn't like you were living on, like, in a field with different houses. Like,
no.
This is a normal town.
But these houses are huge.
Yeah?
They're big houses.
Why?
Like 30 bedrooms.
Oh my God, that's a university, like, dorm room sort of thing. Okay, and what's the reason for that? Is it because did your dad have multiple wives?
He never did.
Oh, he didn't. Is that normal?
Yes, it's very uncommon to not have multiple wives there.
Oh, okay.
So they have 6 kids together. Mm-hmm. I'm 3 and a couple months old. You know, 3 years and a couple months, and my dad gets told that he has committed sins before he was married. So he is sent on what they call repentance.
Wait, he was told that he had done something bad before they got married?
Yes.
Well, what do you know what it was?
I think he had a relationship with a girl before he married my mom.
Okay. And then they called him out on it.
Yes.
Many years later.
Yes, and after having 6 kids with my mom. And
what did he have to do to, you said repent?
Yes.
Okay, what did he have to do?
So they call it being stripped of your priesthood and all of your authority.
Oh, was your dad a priest?
They all hold the keys of priesthood or some authority of priesthood.
Okay.
But no, they are not the mouthpiece or the prophet.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So then, I know I am totally learning as we go, and this is pretty interesting. Okay. Okay. So then he was ripped. That was ripped from him. What did that mean? What did that mean exactly?
Well, anything given can be taken away.
Uh-oh.
They took his family, his wife, my mom, Beverly, and he was sent to move out of town. Move away and go repent from it far is what they call it.
So they took your mom where?
She stayed in the town. She moved back in with her father at the time.
Okay.
And
where'd you guys go?
We went with her.
Okay.
He was sent out, and we were no longer allowed to have any photos or anything like that of him. Like, he was no longer a part of the community, a part of the gospel or the priesthood work was what they called it. So he went out, and she moved back in with her father, and a couple of months later, she married her oldest sister's husband as a 3rd wife. She was placed by him.
So she was forced to do this?
She was told it was direction from God. They always say you're never forced, but there are always consequences if you don't obey.
What kind of consequences?
They'll take your kids, kick you out of town.
Okay, so she was the 3rd wife to her sister's husband?
Yes.
So she was sharing a husband with her sister?
Yes.
But she didn't divorce your dad?
Not legally.
Yeah.
Not until about 12 years later, 12, 13 years later.
And how old were you at this time? Like
3.5.
So,
almost.
Okay, so you don't remember it happening then, right?
I just remember that I have a few memories. I have one of my stepdad, or one of my real dad, sorry. One of my real dad.
Okay.
I'm sitting on his lap and I'm playing with his thumbs.
Uh-huh.
And he's talking to someone. And I remember feeling very just, kind of like I was a nuisance, kind of like I shouldn't have been there. Mm-hmm. And I kept trying to get his attention. I was like, you know, Dad, talk to me. And he was like really stressed.
Yeah.
I remember there was pink carpet. And I just remember there was like a really weird feeling. Like I was almost like watching it from like a bubble I was surrounded in, kind of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that's the only memory I have of him.
Okay. And then your stepdad, how did that go?
Well, for a 3-year-old who is, you know, placed into a family and told this is your dad, it's just some strange guy.
Yeah.
And I I was a troublemaker, I'll say that. So anytime I would do something he didn't like, then he would, I'm going to punish you. And I'd be like, I will tell my dad. And it infuriates him.
Oh, I bet. And you had one younger than you, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then how did the other children take it? Like, was everyone just like, we're just going with the flow? This is just what has to happen? Sort of thing?
Sort of. I mean, there was tension, of course. There always is.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can share your husband with your sister without there not being tension.
Sisters in general
are full sisters too, like same mom, same dad, Yeah.
Oh my God, like, okay, so I really am interested in how that works. Do you know the process? Like, do they just take turns? Or whenever he's like, okay, I'm sick of you, like, okay, you come?
It's more like they do as they're directed.
Holy shit, this dude's living his best life.
I don't know if he is, because here's the thing. He's given women that he didn't choose.
Oh.
And he is taking upon these kids that are not his without it really being his choice. It's directed from God. And you remember, if you go against what you're directed to do, they take your family. He's got, kids with this other woman. And what do they have? I think they would have had 10 kids because she had a couple more after.
Your aunt?
Yep.
Okay. And then who was the other wife?
Her name was Ruth, and she actually had left the cult, but her kids were still there. Oh. So all 8 of her kids were there, 6 of my mom's kids, and then 13 of the first wife's kids.
What's he doing for a living to be able to, or does everyone work? Do the wives work too?
The wives did not. Women are not really allowed to work.
I mean, how can you feed that many mouths?
He had my oldest brother was, in his 20s. They went to work by the time they were mid-teens. I mean, they went against OSHA law all the time. Mm-hmm. OSHA would show up on the job and they had to hide all these 14-year-old boys that were out working and getting paid under the table. But that's how we lived. We got a lot of food stamps, a lot of government assistance, and they would, claim to be single moms, even though they were married to a man and still having kids. So.
Holy shit. I mean, is it legal in Utah to have multiple wives?
No.
Okay, so it's not legal anywhere.
It's not legal anywhere.
Okay.
At least in the United States.
Yeah, so they're not getting actually legally married then.
No, you're only legally married to the first wife.
Yeah, so it's all just, they go through a ceremony. Do they go through a ceremony? Mm-hmm. Okay. And, you guys must have had weddings all the time. Yeah?
Pretty much, but when I was, I was 5 years old, because I think it was 2006. Warren Jeffs was arrested by the FBI.
Okay, and who was this? Was this a prophet?
He was a prophet at the time, yes.
Okay.
He was the one that placed my mom by her sister's older.
Do you remember him? Did you ever meet him?
I met him, but I was so small I don't remember.
Okay, so what did he get arrested for?
Sex crimes against children.
So was he having sex with minors?
As young as 12, yes.
Really? How did he get caught finally?
A girl left the cult, and she finally came out and reported it. Shout out to her. Her name's Elisa Wall. I absolutely am thankful and love her, because if it wasn't for her, I probably would have been married young as well.
Yeah. But
she was placed by her second cousin of 14. And so he got arrested for basically being an accomplice to rape.
Okay.
And then later they found more evidence in the temple in Texas. I don't know if you know about the raid that happened in Texas in 2008.
No.
It was the biggest custody case in the United States. They took over 400 children.
Oh my gosh. And it was all this sort of cult?
Yes.
Was he involved in that?
Yes, very much. Yes, he ran the whole thing. He had them build the temple there, and he married himself to 82 women, I think, is the max.
Oh my god. Yeah. And I bet he picked the hottest ones, didn't he?
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
God favored him.
Oh yeah, he was blessed, and it was like a treasure to be one of his wives. So it was like all the women yearned to be with him, and you were like blessed if you were placed by him, and God directed that.
Wow. How old was this guy?
He was in his 50s. Now he's, I think, close to 70.
And he's still in prison?
He's got a life sentence in 20 years.
And he's still alive?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And so was he staying in your community when he got arrested?
He was actually in Las Vegas.
Doing what?
Running. He was running. He was on the FBI top most wanted list.
Oh, yes. Okay. I'm like, was he gambling over there, finding another wife?
He did a lot of partying, things that his people were not allowed to do, which they were paying for.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so he did get arrested, and did that alter some stuff in your community?
It stopped all marriages, which was great.
Because no one was there to tell you who to marry?
Well, no one can perform them except for him.
Man.
Yeah.
he definitely put a lot of power in his own hands, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Was there someone before him that did that?
His dad.
Okay. So he learned that behavior for sure. Okay. All right. And then, so what happened when he left? The community just kept going on, right?
They still believe that he is the prophet. They believe he's falsely accused. And they tell these people, and you do understand how isolated this group is.
Yeah.
The land is all in a trust, owned by the leaders. They tell you where to go to work, what to do for a career, what monies to turn in. So you do all of that, and then there's no internet at all. Oh. Not even email was allowed.
So was it kind of like Amish-ish?
A lot, yep. A lot, but we had like landline phones. You know, people that went out and worked had the smartphones, but they went and like hacked into the hardware or something and made so they couldn't even connect to Wi-Fi.
Oh my gosh.
So there's none of that at all.
And what is the reason for that? Is it because they say that everything's evil out in civilization? Like,
they say that, and also if you learn the truth of why this man is actually behind bars, who's going to believe him? Who's going to keep following him?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
But the punishment for even getting on the internet was you could be excommunicated from everything you know. You're born and raised that way. You're not even taught how to use money or how to even function outside of what they teach you.
Excommunicated. So that means that they literally just shun you.
Kick you out. You're dead to your family. You're dead to everyone still there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Like your dad.
Yes.
Kind of, right?
Yes.
And did you, I don't know if we're jumping the gun, but did you see him again?
The first time I met him, I was 9 years old.
Oh.
My brother Joe passed away at 17.
Uh-oh.
He had a drowning accident. It's a little bit fishy. He was kind of young.
Yeah. Drowning in what? Like a pond or
He was out swimming with some of his friends, and I think they say he panicked and went under. He was also excommunicated 2 years before when he was 15.
Are you thinking something happened with that?
I don't want to.
Yeah.
I really don't want to, but it's crossed my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. So 17, he passed away, and then your dad came to his funeral?
Yes. So he was invited to the funeral, and he came through the viewing line. And you think, this is our family. There's like 24 kids now, and there's 2 wives, and there's the stepdad. And so my dad comes through, and he gave me a hug, and it was so weird to get hugs there. Like, we didn't hug. We weren't super touchy. There wasn't a lot of, you never said I love you to your mom never said it to you. Your dad never said it. We were very anti all of that stuff. So this strange man gives me a hug, and I ask my sister, I'm like, who is that? Like, that was weird. And she's like, that's Dad. That's that.
Oh, wow. You didn't recognize him?
No.
Because you didn't get photos, right?
We didn't have any photos. They took all of that away.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
How terrible for your father, too.
It's so hard because I've tried to build a relationship now being out, but he still has those same beliefs.
Oh, is he still in?
He's still trying to get back.
Oh, no.
It saves his soul and all of that. There's a whole afterlife effect in all of this, and if you don't obey everything, then he is considered a son of perdition, where he is basically tortured by the devil for time and all eternity. So...
I mean, he's been trying to get back in for like 20 years.
Yeah, 20 years, yes.
Like, who's going to approve his ability to get back in? The dude's in prison, so who's the next one in line to approve him to get back in?
Well, here's the kicker.
This is so interesting.
His son, it's either his son or his nephew, is trying to come in and run it and start it again.
Oh,
his name's Helam and Jeffs. Yes.
Helam what?
Helam and Jeffs. Jeffs is the last name.
Okay. This is okay. So your dad is doing something, praying, I don't know, doing something to try and get back in, proving himself or whatnot. So then it's not going to be a good relationship between you two because you're like, Dad, this shit's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're getting in the way of my salvation and, the saving of my soul. So you need to just keep doing what you're doing. I wish you the best, but just don't communicate with me, basically.
Oh my gosh. Okay, and now this is Mormon, but there's lots of Mormons. Like, I have people come into the door that are Mormons. Are there different sort of phases? I don't know. Different cults, I guess. I don't know, because, like, I don't see that sort of craziness. I mean, obviously, we don't know if it's happening under our noses anyways, but is it mostly in different areas, like Utah and Arizona and Texas?
So there's a lot of groups in Utah. There's a lot of different polygamy cults that believe that that's the true way to go to heaven. So you have to live polygamy. They call it the plural marriage, you know, the law of Sarah. There's a lot of different terms for it. But, you know, if you read the Bible, you know how Abraham took upon Sarah's handmaiden to have kids because she was barren, essentially. They take that term and they say this is how we know that it's the word of God. So they take terms out of the Bible, and then they have what they call their Book of Mormon, which I'll bet you've heard of. So they have the Book of Mormon as well. And then they just kind of create their own thing and use all of these different, you know, words or things in the Bible to justify why this is okay.
Wow. Okay, and was there a lot of issues in your community of having sex with minors or marrying minors, or?
It's different by every family. Okay. I know some people that were raped by their dad.
Oh my God.
And he did it in the name of, I'm preparing you for your husband and marriage.
Oh my God.
So it's different. That never happened to me, thank God. I did have a lot of, you know, because you have brothers that are not related and things like that. So I had a lot of trying to do it. But something my mom did, because I know that she dealt with some of that in her growing up years.
Oh, yeah.
So she would take me aside every night. And at first I thought it was strange. I was like, Mom, you know, why? This is kind of weird. You know, it's fine. And she'd be like, did anybody touch you?
Oh, man. So she was prepared to, yeah. That's awesome. That's good.
Yeah.
So she did that to all of her daughters?
She did it, one of the older ones, one of the boys did try to touch and get weird. And so that's when she started doing that.
One of, like,
One of my full sisters.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. And then, man, so then how long were you in?
Until I was 17. So born and raised. And then, you know, my mom had 2 more kids from my stepdad. So my 2 youngest, so now she has 8 kids. My mom has 8 total.
Oh my God, that's gotta be rough on your body too.
I know.
Do they go to hospitals? Or do they have...
They have their own clinic there. They have people that they've directed to go to doctor school and, you know, college and things like that, which they later got kicked out for. Got sent out on repentance because they went to school to become nurses and doctors because they were directed to. So
that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, they changed it all the time.
They changed the rules to whoever, maybe if they didn't like that person and you're just like, yeah, you're out.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then you have your own, like, clinics. Do you have your... I mean, you go off of that community area for, the grocery store and stuff, right?
We had our own grocery store, too.
What the heck?
Everything was in, like, we sewed our own clothes. You should see, like, we wore, like, the prairie dresses.
It's like Amish. Yeah,
yes,
again,
yes.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
But, yeah, we had our own stores and our own businesses and things like that. You know, people were directed to go out. Like, we had a lot of construction companies that the elders and the older men would start, and they would employ the young boys to support the families. So, I mean, we grew a lot of our own food. Mm-hmm. I grew up milking cows and riding horses and doing all of that. And we had over 100 chickens, you know, made our own cheese and yogurt and all of that.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of good that came out of it. Like,
yeah.
I can cook a full 5-course meal by the time I'm 12, you know? I mean,
yeah.
There's a lot I'm grateful for.
Interesting, though, that you were saying that, like, there wasn't a lot of love being shown.
There wasn't. It was weird because we were really close as families. Like, we worked together, we were homeschooled together and all of that. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't really a part of it.
Okay. So how did you finally get out, or why? Was there something that just pushed you over, or was it when that girl went out?
Here's the kicker.
Okay.
So I didn't even know about that girl until after I was out.
Oh, okay.
My stepdad was kicked out when I was 10 years old, which was very much of a relief for me. He was very physically abusive.
To everybody?
Yes.
Well, he had like 50 people to abuse.
Yeah, someone was going to get smacked.
Holy shit. Damn, that's
someone
a lot.
Someone was going to get hit. There was a ton of us kids, and we were not good kids. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And he was the man of the house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at 10, he got kicked out of the religion?
Yes. So when I was 10 years old, he gets excommunicated. What did he do wrong? I have no idea. Even still, they don't need an explanation to do these things. They just say it's a direction from God. It's revelation. You've committed a sin. You're out. So
that's crazy.
I don't know.
They keep doing that. That's weird.
I mean, a lot of the men, so many of them, yes.
Did they want your mom and the sister to marry another dude after that?
They never remarried because now Warren, who's essentially in jail.
Yeah.
And then he basically put a ban to all sex. So even if you're married, you can't have sex anymore. That was in 2013. So
2013, they're not supposed to have sex since 2013? Are you not having any more children then?
There's not hardly any of them born after that.
Yeah, well, if they were, then that would be a sin, right?
And he would be excommunicated.
Yes.
Exactly. And there's no form of birth control. Let's just say that. It's considered murder of unborn children to have contraception of any form.
Oh my gosh, even a condom?
Even a condom. Even pulling out. And even...
Oh my gosh.
Even like masturbation for men is considered murder of unborn children.
Holy shit.
And you can get sent away forever, is what they say. So you don't have the chance to. Yeah.
These poor guys.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Okay. So when he got arrested, he put out that no sex?
It was about 7 years after he got arrested.
He's like, if I'm not having sex, none of y'all are having sex.
He claimed it was because we were unworthy to bring in more souls into the earthly realm or whatever.
How many people are listening to this guy?
If you count all the communities, there's one in Canada, there's one in Texas, there is one in Short Creek, it's right on the border. I call it Short Creek because that's our hometown. Half the town is Colorado City, Arizona. The other half is Hilldale, Utah. It's split by the border, so.
Okay.
Then there was a group, I think, in North Dakota and Colorado. So there's probably about 10 to 12,000 people that are following him in total.
Wow. And they're just listening. And if anyone was to talk back, then they'd probably be booted also.
Oh, we were told from a young age he could read your thoughts.
Oh.
So if you even think something bad about the prophet or the word of God, then you are essentially sinning.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So how did you get out? Your stepdad got booted at 10.
Yes. And I always got teased that I would marry him, which was a real possibility. Like, girls always got placed by their stepdads. If there was no blood relation, it would happen.
What?
Yeah.
That was a normal thing?
Very normal, yes.
Oh my god. How gross is that? Like, okay. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Anyway, so I was always afraid that I was going to be replaced by him. And so he gets kicked out. I'm like, oh my god, okay, I'm relieved, he's gone. And then he's told he can start coming around when I'm 14.
Okay.
So he starts coming around the family a little bit, and, he was always a little bit weird with me. I don't know if it's normal. For me, it creeped me the hell out, but,
yeah.
Like, he would always pull me in really close and, like, whisper, like, right on my face all the time. And, I mean, this is a guy I'm not related to. Come on,
No. What do you look like, just to get a visual?
Well, he's kind of skinny, glasses. I don't want to say it. A little bit Jeffrey Dahmer look.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't want to say it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I really hope he's doing good things for my mom and the kids that are still there.
Yeah.
Like, I have to be thankful. He fed me. I have to be thankful for that. He kept me alive and fed me and, supported me. So
yeah. And was he in his, 50s, 40s?
Yeah.
50s?
Yeah, 50s.
Okay, so...
Late 40s at that time.
Okay. So he comes back.
He comes back around. He's always, he's just a little bit creepy. I cut my hair. It's bad to have any cut look on your hair at all.
It's bad to have what?
A cut look. So you can trim your hair for health reasons, but you can't have it cut.
Like you can't have bangs.
You cannot have bangs.
Okay.
And I was feeling rebellious, and I cut some bangs.
Uh-oh.
And we went and met up with him at the park, and he pulled me in really close against him. He's just like, I can feel your heart straying away. I can feel. And he was whispering on my face. It's just and he was always so strong, his grip. I'd try to pull away all the time, and it was just solid. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this. And so that was essentially, kind of the part where I was like, I can't do this. I have to get out. I don't know how, but I have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I had sort of, when I was 6, kind of made that realization as well. Me and my older sister had a conversation. She was 7. And she was like, we can't do this. We can't keep living like this.
At 6 and 7 years old?
Yeah.
You're like, hell yeah.
We were pretty grown up by then. Yeah. I was changing diapers at 7,
That's crazy, yeah.
I don't think I was ever a kid, if I'm being honest.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God, no. No.
I mean, there's 8 younger than me, so.
Yeah. Yeah, and just in that environment, I mean, you never even got to go to school, right?
Yeah, we were homeschooled, so it was homeschool, clean the house. We did chores before school. We did chores after school, and all, like, forms of recreation were banned because they were considered, idle mind, and playtime was banned. So,
wow.
I mean, that's just the way it was. It grew up fast.
Yeah, you were like a mom right out of the gate.
Yeah, I knew how to fully function, cook, clean, schedule, 10 kids, all of that by 12. I thought I was ready to be married at 12.
Did you think you were going to get married at 12?
It was a fear, yeah. It was a possibility. Because you always think, okay, they tell you he's going to get out any day now. God is going to strike down and break the prison walls, and he's going to be free. So, yeah, it's a fear all the time.
But did you also, like, want to get married? Like, maybe love someone and be together with someone? Like, or were you not feeling that and that?
I wanted to get married when I got a crush on a boy, and I wanted to marry him.
Yes.
That was what it was. It was never me wanting to get married and be a mom and, in Zion or whatever they call it.
Did you have a crush on anyone?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah? Were you able to, like, hang out with other...
No. Boys and girls do not hang out at all.
No, but in your household, like, was there some that you weren't related to that were boys?
There were, but they were all in their 20s, so there was never any sexual interest with anybody. Like, and I grew up with them. I knew how gross they were. They were all my gross brothers.
Yeah. Okay.
But, I essentially met another boy through a friend, and, I had a crush on him. And
was he in the religion?
Yes.
Okay.
And we talked probably a total of 4 times.
And you're like, we're in love.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm not over. It's been 4 years.
So then that was around 14. So how'd you actually leave?
Our family, so they always separate families whenever they want. They went through what was called an interview process where you go meet, because there's also the bishop who is Warren's brother. So I'd go meet him, he'd shake your hand, ask you if you were worthy or clean and pure is what he called it.
Meaning you're a virgin?
I mean, if you don't, everybody there was a virgin. Come on.
Yeah.
Pretty much all the women were virgins. I have a 30-year-old sister who's still a virgin.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's he asking about clean and pure, just religiously?
Well, there's no masturbation at all. And so if you masturbate, then you're not clean and pure. If you think impure thoughts about boys, you have a crush on someone, it's considered impure. So right down to all of the little things that half the world doesn't even matter or know about.
Yeah. So you were like, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
And, he shakes your hand and claims he fills your spirit. And he's like, okay, you're worthy. So you guys can continue to go to church and be a part of the church. And then people that are not worthy have to live in different households. So we still lived in the same town, but they separated families.
Oh, so he took out some of your siblings?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Were you close to these siblings that left? And you're like, oh my God, what just happened?
Yeah.
Sort of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much.
And who'd they get to live with? Just random people?
Yeah, it was random families. Our family got separated multiple times and moved in with other worthy families. So then it was a whole mess of chaos, and you're just crammed together in one big house.
Oh my gosh. And I mean, I could see some bad stuff happening from that, right? I mean, is that a lot of rape or anything like that happen?
It never happened in my life, thank God.
Yeah.
It did happen with other women, yes.
Yeah, I mean, that's like a lot of people living in one house. You never know what could happen, especially when they're not allowed to masturbate.
Exactly.
There's like a whole lot of
I had some friends that had been raped by their brothers, even full brothers, and it's terrible.
And what do they do when that happens?
I mean, you don't dare say anything. You could be to blame. You're the temptress. It could be your fault as much as his.
That's crazy, but true. And I see where you're coming from. Yeah. So they don't say anything?
They don't. They never say it. It takes them years. Anybody that has ever talked about it takes years and years, and they come out and they mention it because they don't want it to happen to one of their sisters or younger siblings.
Mm-hmm. And what if they get pregnant? Did any of them get pregnant? I mean, you can't use birth control.
I don't know any of them that did.
Oh, my gosh.
But this was something that probably happened once or twice. And a lot of times they separated the boys and girls. Later on, they ended up separating boys and girls, which kind of solved the problem, but created so much weirdness when you got in, social situations. But
no one's knowing how to act.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
anyway, we get separated, and I move in with this other family, and their so-called caretaker. So what they do is they take a priested man who has a family, and they put him over another family as kind of guidance and things like that. So he's not married to the women, but he's considered a caretaker.
Is he allowed to have sex with the women?
No, not at all.
Okay, that's good. Okay.
Yeah. So he just kind of, you know, calls in. We have like morning and evening class where we have to read scripture every morning and every night. So he calls in, makes sure we're doing that, you know, and things like that. But he had a boy, he had a son, and I was 16 at this time, you know, kind of happened a lot. And then later I moved in with them when I was 16. And so we started talking because he'd come over and do chores and, you know, like fix the house and do some plumbing work and things like that. And he was 17. So we started talking and sneaking out at night. Like,
ooh.
Yeah. It was fun. There was nothing more thrilling, like just sneaking out the window, driving off to the closest town, which is like 30 minutes away. And we would hang in the car and watch movies. He had movies, so that was like me kind of, you know, watching movies and some of that. And then, so we essentially kind of got out together. We moved in with my cousin who had left 10 years before. So I'd gotten on social media and connected with her.
Oh, good. You had someone that knew that and knew how to help.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so you and this dude like were you boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you went to your cousin?
Mm-hmm. We moved in with her, and I got into high school.
So you ran away?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Did you say bye to your mom?
Yes. I tried leaving at 16 because we'd been hanging out, you know, for a couple months and wanted to get out, and she's like, "You're not going. Like, you're underage. I'll call the cops. I'll bring you back. Like, you're not leaving." So eventually, you know, time passes, and she finds out I'm hanging out with this boy.
How'd she find out?
She saw his car down the road because he dropped me off, and I'd walk up to the house. Yeah. She was like, "I know him," because some of my brothers knew him too. And so she called his dad. It was like, "He is hanging out with my daughter."
And this dad is supposed to be the overall preacher dude, right?
He's like the kind of the caretaker over my cousin's family who I lived with when I met him.
Yes.
I had moved in with my mom again at this time, so.
Okay.
So she called his dad and almost got him kicked out of the house. And so they gave us an ultimatum to, you know, quit seeing each other or get out.
Oh, you're like, okay, that's what I've been wanting to do. What?
So I finally did. I was like, "Yeah, Mom, I've had sex. I can't be here anymore." Like, after you have sex, you are excommunicated.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, they don't even want to get you back, right? They can't.
You can't be there.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Okay, I wish you the best, but just you know, like, you making that choice, you're dead to me. Like, you got to go."
Oh, wow.
So that's essentially how I kind of fell on the sword to get out.
Yeah. Hey. So you got out. Have you talked to your mom since?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you're not dead to her?
I'm not. It took a little bit. It was, you know, about a year before I talked to her again, and then I just showed up at her house. That's what I did. Just showed up.
Same house?
"Hey, I'm here to see you." Yeah. Now they've moved her around. They move her around every time I find her now.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So they're trying to make it so you don't communicate with her because they don't want you to pull her out, probably.
Yeah. She gets in trouble every time she gets caught talking to me on the phone and things like that. But we find ways, of course.
And how is she?
My mom has bipolar. She's had it all of her life. And, you know, being placed by different men and dealing with the abuse from my stepdad. She had a lot of mental breakdowns in my childhood and in my life. And so she was never really like my mom. I was kind of more her mom at times. And she just had another one not very long ago. So, but she's coming out of it and she's doing a lot better.
And does she want to leave?
She doesn't think she can. She doesn't think that she can build a life out here. She doesn't have those kind of skills. So, I mean, she talked about leaving my whole life. "I'm just going to get out of here. No one cares about me. I'm just going to leave." Like, she would say that my whole life.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "Mom, like, if I get a place and I can help support you, are you going to go?" And she's like, "I can't." And then there's my stepdad, who is, you know, the dad to my two younger brothers. And like, one's 14, the other one's 16. And because she doesn't work and her bipolar, he would probably get custody if she left. And she doesn't want to lose her kids.
I bet you want to try to help your siblings, though.
Oh, yeah, I do, very much so, but it has to be something they choose first.
Oh, yeah, you can't force it upon them, for sure. Okay, so you left and you went to your cousin's with the boy.
Yes.
What was the boy's name?
He doesn't like me to say his name. He's really personal.
Okay, all right.
But we're not together anymore, but we were for 5 years. It was
nice. And oh my God, you guys must have helped each other tremendously.
We did so much, but here's the thing, like, growing up without your real dad, growing up with an abusive stepdad, all of this, like, I had so much trauma and bullcrap that anytime he did something that triggered me, I would get mad at him, and honestly, it ruined our relationship. Like, because I would be triggered by things I didn't understand. I'm like, why am I angry and hurting over this? Like, it's not even that big of a deal. And that's the thing that people don't talk about with trauma, is that you have triggers that you are not even aware of.
Absolutely. And how are you going to, have you been working on trying to get out of it? Like, are you going to therapy for it?
I did, yes. And
is it hard to find someone that can actually understand what you're going through as a therapist? Because
I went to a therapist, and she seemed more intrigued about my life. And then she once was like, I understand. And I just blew, I was like, fuck you. Like, sorry for my language. I don't know.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I was like, fuck you. Like, you don't understand any of this. So never say you understand that. But I ended up finding a therapist who works with a lot of people that come from these cults. Her name was Mary. She is associated with Holding Out Help. They're a nonprofit organization that help people from cults. Oh, like, they helped me get my GED. They helped me, because I went to high school, but I was working full-time. I was supporting myself.
Is this when you got out?
Okay. Yep. So in high school, I essentially ended up in the ER with a kidney infection, because no sleep, way too much caffeine, up all night.
You probably never had caffeine before. Did you have caffeine?
I mean, we had coffee. I've been drinking coffee since I was 9. And then they told us to stop drinking it, but... I mean, I drank it a lot. Yeah. But I've never had energy drinks.
You're like Red Bull?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so then you started going to high school.
Yes.
Okay.
And that was a complete culture shock. Oh, my God.
Like, you're like, I need a new outfit. I can't be going in this long
oh, my gosh. Finding my style was definitely a challenge. Like, now I feel like I'm pretty good with it, and I like it, but... Like, I went from, like, you know, jeans and baggy T-shirts, and I just looked weird. And I was like, okay, I don't like that. And then I would experience new things. But I kind of, you know, dress a little hoary sometimes. And my boyfriend's like, this isn't the girl I fell in love with. Like, who are you? Don't dress like that. I don't like that. And I was like, you're just being controlling. And there was a whole fight about that all the time. It was just a constant battle. Because, I mean, he didn't sign up for me trying to figure out who I am. And I didn't sign up for him trying to figure out who he was. Like, we were definitely trauma bonded, but... Like, we were changing so much. We were both growing up, you know, from 16 to 20.
Yeah. Oh, my God. And from 16, like, you guys knew nothing about the outside world or about who you were as a person. I mean, it's phenomenal that you guys had each other.
Yeah.
I mean, because if you didn't have each other, who knows how you would have gotten out, you know?
I probably would have went off the deep end. Like, I probably would have went into drugs and tatted out. I mean, I probably would have went over the edge if not for him. Like, thank God every single day that he kept me reined in as much. I mean, it was hard and controlling at times, but he kept me from making decisions that I would have regretted later.
Yeah, and where's he at now?
He lives in Florida. He's doing great. He works for a company he's been working for years, but he's moved up in the company. Let me see. He's 24 now, so... Okay. He's doing good.
Well, where was your cousin living when you moved in with her?
Salt Lake City.
Okay, so you went to Utah. How'd you end up in California?
My fiancé now, I moved to Nevada with him, and I started doing real estate, and then he got a job opportunity here, and he moved us in 3 days. So.
Oh. How long have you been living here?
About 1.5 years.
Okay.
So.
Nice. And you met him in Utah?
He's from the same cult.
This one?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wait a minute. You guys knew each other then?
No. Not at all. When I met him, I had no idea that he was from the same place.
How did you meet?
He was living here at the time, working for the Laurens, as you know.
Yeah.
And I was living in Salt Lake, and I was engaged to my first boyfriend. I was 18 at the time, and I got the opportunity to model for, like, a truck show they were doing in St. George, Utah, which is, like, an hour from our hometown. And so I was down there modeling, and he had rented a Lamborghini. He brought it in. And I got pictures on the car, but we didn't even talk. Like, I didn't know him at all. And then he got my social media from my sister because he knew her when they were kids, because there's 8 years between us.
Okay.
And so he got my Instagram. And he was like, hey, if you're ever in Sacramento, let's hang out. And I didn't reply. I was like, when am I going to meet in Sacramento? Yeah. Come on. And I was engaged. So I didn't really talk to him. And he ended up, like, liking my stories for, like, 1.5 years. And when I broke it off with my boyfriend, or when we broke it off, you know, however it happened, then I started replying to his conversations online and found out he was from the same place. And I knew his sisters.
The same town?
Same town. I knew his sisters. His last name is the last name of my stepdad, so that's kind of weird.
Was he related to your stepdad?
Yes.
What the fuck is happening right now? What?
Yeah.
How are they related?
Let me see. His dad, so his birth dad, because he also had a stepdad, by the way. Yeah. And he was raised a Jessup, and his last name's Barlow, and I'm a Fisher, and I was raised a Barlow. So his stepdad, or his real dad, and my stepdad are cousins.
Okay. And how did he get out? Like,
he also left with a girl. Oh, he's got a great story. Yeah. He was like in the raid in he went to Texas after the big raid happened down there. Like, his story is wow.
Why did he go down there?
He was directed to.
To what? Do cleanup or?
He was a security guard for the exterior of the compound.
So he went there after the raid?
Yeah.
So he wasn't there during?
He wasn't there during, but his family was. A lot of his siblings.
Did they get taken?
Yeah.
Where are they now? Like those...
A lot of them are still in. Some of them are out. A lot of his brothers have left, and now they have kids, and they're married, and it's fun. It's really fun, but...
Man, that's crazy. Well, that's awesome that you guys found... Now you both have that upbringing that you can discuss.
That's the thing is, like, I actually dated an LDS guy for, like, 3 weeks.
A what?
LDS, so mainstream Mormon.
Oh.
LDS, because we're FLDS.
What's F mean?
Fundamentalists.
What's the difference?
I mean, one's polygamy, one's not.
Okay.
One's ran by an almighty decider. The other one's not as dictatorship-ish, I guess.
Okay.
But, so I dated him for, like, it was like 3 weeks or so. Like, we didn't even have a physical relationship, you know, and they're all no sex before marriage. And I ended up joining the LDS church kind of because I liked him, but, I mean, it broke up and I'm not really active anymore. But, it was weird. We would try to talk about things. He couldn't really handle, like, some of the stuff that was so normal to me. And he was like, that's too much or that's heavy. Whereas, like, with Manti, my fiance, you know, he's like, okay, I get this. We grew up this way, but there's not that trauma bond that's, like, the only bond we have.
Mm-hmm. No, it's definitely...
It's genuine. Yeah. There's real attraction, you know?
Yeah, it's a necessity for you to have someone that you can talk to that has some sort of ability to understand.
Yeah, exactly. Like... Yeah. If you don't understand something, it's just, I don't know. I don't know how to make it work with someone who couldn't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure. Are you familiar with the other religions as well? Like, like my husband that you met, he grew up in Jehovah's Witness.
Okay. I've heard of it.
Yes. And I mean, there's a lot of positive, stuff that he learned, you know, like there's a lot of positivity, but they don't, celebrate any sort of, you know, holidays.
Same with us.
Yeah, and birthdays or all that, which is like whatever. But the one thing that I really dislike about his religion is they are disfellowshipped. They disfellowship people.
Yeah,
like ours does. Exactly, but you had a different term for it.
Excommunicated.
Yeah, and so there's someone that I talked to that, like my husband's been out since before I met him, but someone that I know that is trying to get back in to the religion because his daughters are in it, and the daughters will not talk to him unless he's in it. But he told me that he goes through therapy with a woman. I'll have to give you her contact after this because I don't have it. I'll have to ask him. But she deals with cults, you know, and she was in it.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Okay. So she's able to try to help because there's so much craziness that goes on because you grow up in that sort of situation thinking it's normal.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, even, like, abuse, like, physical, like, my stepdad was bad.
Yeah.
I say that. Like, I have scars from it and stuff like that.
Oh, my God. What kind of, like, was he taking?
Just, like, weapons? 2x4s. And,
just 2x4s?
You know, I got striked with a bullwhip once and, you know, pretty basic stuff, but it was just the level of it.
Yeah. Just you would just talk back or something and he just hit you with a 2x4?
I mean, sometimes he just came in swinging. It didn't make sense. I mean, I didn't dare talk. I was terrified of him. I never talked back unless I was, like, when I was a kid, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't scared of him. I didn't know him. Like, the one time I told him he wasn't my real dad and, you know, he took me out, slammed me down on the concrete. I was, you know, it was nighttime, cold outside. It gets cold there. It was, like, snowy on the ground. He took me out, slammed me down on the concrete and told me to stay there.
And you were like 6.
I was 3.
3?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And I peed my pants because I was terrified, ran in the back door. He came storming into the room, and I was like, why are you so mad? Like, you know, you're not my dad. I wasn't lying there, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But And I was, like, laying on the floor hitting my leg in class. So it was just, I wasn't being proper in our family gathering. And that's why that happened.
Mm-hmm. And then other times you weren't even doing anything and he was just mad?
Well, like, when I was younger, I had really big tonsils. So I always snorkeled, and I was always, you know, because I couldn't breathe very well. I've gotten them out. I got them out when I was 7, but I did that, and he said that is very unladylike, very, like, unmannerly, like, go outside and I'll deal with it later. And he, you know, took me over his knee and hit me with a 2x4.
Oh, my God.
So it was just like a thing, you know, it just happened every once in a while.
Yeah, and what's your mom doing during this?
She can't stand up against her priesthood head.
Because
she's just as scared as I am.
That's terrible.
Essentially. Like,
oh my gosh.
And all of the cops, they're a part of the community. You know, you call 911, they tell you you're going against what you're directed to do.
What?
Yeah.
911 is your
dispatch. Community? All of the cops and everything were a part of the cult. Like, everything. The mayor was. It was kind of like a communist group. I mean, sort of. It was a dictatorship. We called it an ominous dictatorship.
That's unbelievable that in this day and age this is actually existing, and it's still existing. Still
to a degree. Okay. When they took him in prison, the lady Elisa actually sued the trust. United Effort Plan is what it's called. And so they've broken the trust up, and now it's subdivided. It's not owned by them anymore. And now there's outsiders living in that town, and a lot of us got evicted because they weren't paying taxes on the land. Oh. My life is a pile of chaos.
Yeah, because they weren't paying taxes because it was in that trust.
Well, the trust owners weren't paying taxes, so, like, we had built houses on all this land, you know, they put their money into these, and these houses, like I said, they're huge, 13-bedroom homes, you know, 30-bedroom homes, one of them had, like, 100 bedrooms, like, what? They're huge compounds. Oh, my God. And you put millions of dollars into building this home, and then you go against what they say, they own the land, so you are essentially kicked off of it.
Wow.
And your family is born and raised there, lived there their whole lives. Like,
and they built the house. Like your dad. Your dad built the house.
Yep, and he got kicked out of it. Now it was given to another family.
That's nuts. Yeah. Okay, but now that this guy's in jail, or excuse me, prison, it's still getting ran to a certain degree.
All of the believers still believe that he is essentially God on earth, or the prophet. And in prison, exactly. It doesn't make any sense.
No, does he keep writing letters to them or something?
Yes. Yeah, he still has revelations, and he sends them all this crazy wackadoo. And
what prison is he in?
He's in prison in Texas, Palestine, because when they had the 2008 raid, the 2008 raid on the compound, they found evidence in the temple that he had had sex with a 12-year-old. So that was enough to put him away for life in 20 years.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, so if he dies, what are these people going to do? Or when he dies?
Yeah, his son, Helaman, will probably say he's directed by God to keep it going.
How old is that guy?
I think he's 40s. I think it's his nephew, not his son. I think it's his nephew.
Okay. But as of right now, no one's supposed to be having sex.
No one's supposed to be having sex. No one gets married. So it's kind of dwindling away, and so many people are leaving now that they're finding out the truth and things like that.
Yeah, but there's still like tens of thousands of people that are still believing.
I would say at least 5. 5,000? It's probably half of what it was.
Oh, 5,000?
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, hopefully more people understand what's real out there.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, are you trying to contact your siblings at all?
I do. I have a little bit of contact with my baby sister. She's 14.
Oh.
Yeah.
And what's her take on it?
For her own safety and things like that, I'm not going to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
because she's still in.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't want to, even saying I have contact is probably not a good thing on here.
Yeah. Okay. So, man, what about your older siblings?
Most of them are out.
Okay.
I have 3 older sisters that are out. And then, my oldest brother, he's the one that passed away, so.
Yeah.
But, yeah, my 3 oldest, and then a couple of the other mom's kids are out.
Okay.
But I think it's like 3 or 4 of them, so.
Well, man, do you guys have any sort of, like, group that you guys can talk in? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, is there any way for you guys to come together?
I mean, me and my older sisters, we talk on a daily basis. We have a Snapchat group. We all get on there. And, oh, my God, it's hilarious because there's so much drama and there's so much, like one of them's mad because my little brother Leroy, who is from my full brother from the one that's still there. He's But he's 20 years old now, and he's still there, and he tends mom and makes her be obedient and blocks our numbers on her phone, so we're like, oh my God, Leroy's being such a little cunt. I'm like,
yeah, well, is there a way for, like, anyone that's trying to get out? Is there any help for them? Like, do they know how to reach someone to help them get out?
It all depends on what degree of contact, like if they have a phone to contact for help is the main thing.
Yeah.
Most people don't. A lot of people, like young people, don't.
But who would they contact?
Holding Out Help in Salt Lake.
Oh, so this is a group.
It's a nonprofit organization, and they have actually helped people, like kids. They've helped a 15-year-old kid actually get adopted into a family out there, and now he's doing great. He's actually, military, but he's not active, so he's reserve. And now he's becoming a police, and he's building a life for himself, and he got out at 15 and got adopted into a family.
Oh, nice. So this is a nonprofit that their sole purpose is to try to help children, or just in general?
Anyone from cults, because you get out, doesn't matter what age you are, you don't know anything.
Exactly. So like your mom.
Yeah, exactly.
And they would help her.
Yes.
Like, do they help them get housing?
Yes.
And jobs and education, like you said, your GED.
So they try to help you become self-efficient. They don't like give you means and things like that. They help you, with a job resume, and they help you get a job and education, and yes, things like that. Resources to help you become independent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I would think there would be some sort of child abuse that's going on in these houses. Like, why aren't the authorities for CPS or anything getting involved with that many children living in houses?
You need to look up the 2008 raid.
Yeah, but since 2008, nothing else has happened, like in Utah?
That was the biggest custody case, and they had all of these women going on the news and crying about how they took their children.
Oh my God.
So the entire world is against the CPS and against Child Protective Services now. Do you think they're going to touch that again?
Oh my God, so they got totally backlashed for it. Really? That's terrible.
And there was evidence of girls being raped in Texas.
But these parents, their minds are so brainwashed that
they think that that's what God wants, and so they tell these kids that they're happy. So even the kids that have been taken away, they're like, you're just taking me from my mom. They don't know anything else.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
They tell them that, they're the one true chosen group that is going to go to heaven. They're the one true work of God on earth. So you are happy, regardless if you're miserable or not. You are happy. You are essentially just supposed to be happy all the time. So when you're born and raised like that, and then you are taken into an environment that is completely strange for you. Like, they took 400 kids.
That's crazy.
They didn't know what to do with them. They didn't know there was that many kids on the ranch. Half of these kids weren't even with their moms because they had taken them away and taken them to Zion, is what they called it.
Mm-hmm. How did they get into that raid? Like, do you know the meaning? Like, what happened?
They got an anonymous call from a girl under the name Sarah Barlow who said she was being abused. They were not able to find a Sarah Barlow. Mm-hmm. They interviewed all the young girls, and then they found a lot more evidence than they were trying to find.
Like, we don't have enough help for this.
They didn't. They essentially did not have enough help for that. And they had nowhere to put these kids. Like, it was the biggest custody case, I think, ever in the United States.
Oh, my gosh. I'm going to look that up when we're finished here. That's crazy. Well, man. Well, thank you for sharing all this.
Of course.
Is there anything else that you want to tell us, or to help anyone that might be stuck in this sort of situation?
I would just say there's always help. Like, making the decision to break away from something like that is life-changing, and it's the scariest thing you'll ever do. Because you're essentially diving into a pool without knowing how to swim. You're diving into the deep end, and you're figuring it out.
The unknown, for sure.
Yeah.
And everything that you've been told not to do your whole entire life.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you have they don't teach you about safe sex. They don't teach you anything about sex at all.
Just not to do it.
Just not to do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would say for anyone getting out, like, there is help. There's Holding Out Help. I mean, there are ways to call anyone you know that is out, and they can get you in touch with Holding Out Help. Mm-hmm. Pretty much anyone that's out can get you in touch.
Okay.
And essentially make the choice for you. Don't make it because of any sort of, even me, I won't pressure my sister to make that choice because I know the mental toll it takes on you to make that choice. It has to be for you. Mm-hmm. So messed up as it is, you have to make that choice on your own.
Yeah. And how happy are you that you did?
Oh my God, so much.
Serious? Could you imagine?
No. Oh my goodness. Like, now I'm building a career. In fact, I just got a promotion, and I'm a 23-year-old. I mean, I never went to college, but I've done a lot of schooling and a lot of reading, and I got a good pay raise, and I'm like, how is a 23-year-old that didn't go to college making this? Like, it feels unreal to me.
You probably have some good work ethic.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah.
Anybody from there will work.
Yeah, that is definitely.
And that's how I got the promotion. I put my head down and worked harder than anyone else. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's how you're going to make it out here.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and then when are you getting married? I heard you said fiancé?
We don't have plans yet. We were going to set a date, and then we moved last minute, and it's kind of just put everything on hold. Mm-hmm. And then he's done some, growth. He's, he went to what is called the Modern Day Night Project.
What's that?
It's basically 25 hours of Hell Week training for Navy SEALs.
Oh, is he going in the military?
No.
He just did it for fun?
He did it to deal with a lot of the traumas and beliefs that he had in his, about himself.
Oh.
It's a lot, but...
What is it? I might send my husband there just for fun. Is it just a little bit of 25 hours of torture sort of thing?
One of the guys got med-rolled. Let's just say that. But it's basically something you can quit anytime you want, but if you get through it, you graduate, and you have basically a brotherhood that a lot of them are in business, a lot of them will coach you.
What?
It's huge.
Where did he go for that?
Chino Hills, California.
Okay, and what was the cost? Is it expensive?
$18,000.
$18,000 for torture?
But he gets a whole year of coaching from multi-millionaires who have been doing this for years.
What?
And the mental breakthroughs that you make doing something like that, he knows there's nothing he can't do.
Okay, give some examples of what he went through during this. You said, so it's 25 hours straight?
Yes.
Okay.
Night and day. I think they got 4 hours of sleep. But they start with, a physical test, and if you can pass that within a certain amount of time, then you're good to go. And it's mostly to see if you're physically able to make it through this. Mm-hmm. And then they do a lot of physical training, and it's a lot like military. So these guys are yelling at you and screaming at you. If you watch any training on military, one of these guys is an ex-Marine.
Okay. So
he's like a drill sergeant, and he's like, are you fucking gay? What's going on here? He'll say anything. I know that's bad, but he'll say anything to get to you. So it's basically mental torture. It's physical. And then they have to go out and just do dumb stuff because they tell them to. They made him move a whole pile of weeds nonstop. Mm-hmm. They've been working all night. Yeah. Then they do an evolution where they're laying in the ocean all night. All night. Oh. And you can quit anytime. You can ring that bell and quit anytime. Yeah. But if you don't, you graduate.
Do they get waterboarded?
Yes. They got waterboarded, tortured.
In a box?
I'm not sure how they did it.
I heard about another thing, they get put in a tiny-ass box. I don't know if they did that.
They did an evolution where they made them dig their own grave. Oh. They got put in a body bag. Oh. And they stayed in the ground for, I think it was a certain amount of time. But it's kind of a rebirth is what it is.
That's so interesting.
When I watched this video, I was like, oh my God, are you going to be okay? I was, scared for him.
When did he do it?
Back in September.
Okay, so not too long ago.
Not too long ago.
And he loved it? He said it was, the best thing ever?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's so weird. We're out in public, and he's just very attentive. He's very protective of me now. They teach you how to, be protective, teach you how to run like a gun and things like that, which is great. I think everyone should have that knowledge that they're going to carry. And they teach you how to, de-escalate a situation. So they did, a stage of, a guy, screaming at a girl, and he had a gun. It was all fake guns, of course. And you're supposed to go in and de-escalate it. Okay. And so they teach you a lot of life skills. And then they also teach you how to wrestle and fight. And then, they teach you, one of the evolutions, I don't even know what it was. They, duct taped them. Duct taped their feet and their arms, and they had to teach them how to break out of it. Oh, wow. So there's a lot of valuable things. Yeah. And if you can graduate that, nothing's going to stop you in building your success in your life. You're going to have discipline like no other.
And he creates some great networking, some great friends to help him with his future.
And he has about 200 guys that have graduated this who, if he needed anything, they're a phone call away.
Yeah, those are some savage motherfuckers, I bet.
And they're killers,
they're killers. That's cool. I like that. That's a lot of money, but...
Yeah, it was 18 grand, but... Yeah. He called me. I was like, you did what? You spent 18K? What? Uh-huh. But he's completely someone else. Wow. In a way that he's just, I know a lot of people deal with trauma. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, I always say, trauma can use you or you can use it. Mm-hmm. Yep. because even me, like, I've been a little bitch and a little victim at times, and I wanted to kill myself. And then when I'm out there, like, you know what, someone beat me up one time, good, I'm going to use that to go beat down the world and get what I want, then it works.
Yeah, I love it.
So that's how I look at it. So even with trauma, something I think I would say to people that go through trauma is, like, it takes a level of awareness. I'm so sorry. Do you have any tissue?
I don't. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
I should have been prepared here.
We'll edit.
Okay.
It takes a level of awareness, especially when you start a relationship with someone, because you're going to get triggered all the time. But it takes a level of awareness to be like, okay, this isn't my partner hurting me. Mm-hmm. It's something that happened to me, and no fault of his. It's something I need to deal with inside.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing, because you can ruin everything just from your triggers.
I agree.
It's like having a bandaged wound. Someone pushes up against you, and you're like, oh my God, you hurt me. Mm-hmm. And they're like, how did that hurt? Mm-hmm. They have no idea you're wounded.
Yeah. And a lot of times you like to take your aggression and just everything that's built up inside you on your significant other as a whipping post as well, because those are the person that's closest to you, which isn't okay by any means, but it's just natural.
That's essentially what happened with my first relationship.
Mm-hmm. Well, at least you learned from that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's not going to take any shit now that he went through that.
And that's a good thing. Like, he will call me out on my bullshit, and I'll be like, fuck you. I love you. Like, thank you. And, like, we get up and we work out every morning at 4 a.m.
Oh, wow.
Like, we're at the gym, and there are days I'm like, I just don't want to do it. And he's like, get your ass up. We're going to the gym.
Yes.
I'm like, thank you.
Yes.
And then when I'm, loving my body, I'm like, thank you. That was awesome,
Have you guys done the ice bath?
Oh yeah. We do that a lot.
Yes. we are doing it every day, and it is so amazing. It's funny. Okay, I hate getting into it. Like the couple minutes before is just more torture than actually doing it.
Exactly.
Because I'm like, my brain's just like, this is gonna suck. Why are you doing it? It's so fucking cold. Blah blah blah. So I'm like tricking my brain. Like, okay, there's I've just showed you this clip. This comedian Nate, he's hilarious, and he talks about how one side of your brain's really smart and the other side's really stupid. Like, your one side of the brain's so stupid you could actually trick it with your smart side. Right? Yeah. And so that's what I do. I put my bathing suit on. I'm like, I'm gonna go in the hot tub. I'm gonna go in the hot tub outside. Because I have a hot tub right out there. I'm like walking to it, and I just dunk into the ice. And I'm like, I tricked my brain. Good. Yeah. But doing that daily is so good for your body.
And your mind. You know what it does for your mind?
Mm-hmm. The dopamine effect, the rush of blood, and all of it. It's phenomenal.
And I'll tell you something. Like, me coming out here and getting into the job I have, there are times I'm like, do I have the experience and the knowledge to do this? Like, I'm not going to lie. I don't hope my boss doesn't watch this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But there are times I'm like, am I enough to do this? And I have, imposter syndrome so bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
But doing like an ice bath like that every morning kind of just resets everything. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if I can get in this ice bath I've done 5 minutes. That's the longest I've done.
Yeah, perfect. Just don't go over 6.
Yeah, and I'm like, if I can do that, I can do anything. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's just that mental toughness that you know and you're certain of that's in there.
Yeah.
And I think that's necessary to succeed in this world, especially with the way things are.
And that imposter syndrome, everyone has it.
I know, everyone.
I mean, no one's really 100% confident at anything they do, but they gotta fucking pretend they are. They
Exactly.
And that's the only way to become successful. Yep. So, well, awesome. Thank you again for coming and sharing.
Of course.
And hopefully we do help. You never know who's going to watch this, and it might actually trigger them being able to help themselves,
That's the biggest thing is, like, you can go through all the therapy you want. Therapy never, like, to be honest with you, it wasn't therapy that helped me. It was me deciding that I wanted to help myself. Mm-hmm. Therapy helped me become aware of things, but I didn't, I don't have anything against therapy. In fact, I recommend it because it helped for me, but it helped me become aware of things. And as soon as I decided to help myself, that's when it started working.
Just like alcoholism and everything. Unless you want to help yourself, you're not getting anywhere. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. No, I fully agree. Well, good. All right. Well, thank you.
Don't miss out on a single moment of The Real Life with Lacey. Hit that subscribe button so you'll always be the first to know when a new episode drops. Together, we'll keep uncovering the authenticity of life. Subscribe now and join our vibrant community of real stories and real connections.